Good day everyone, Happy New Year. Normally in the winter I upload a lot of videos on engine building and car repairs and all sorts of stuff. Not this year, because I'm kind of too busy actually doing the stuff to film. I've said it before, I'd rather just keep quiet and get the work done and then talk about it after, so that's the case here. The car is just out of frame, but I don't want to show it yet, so let that be a surprise. So yeah, anyway, this video is about VFR gaskets. I still get a lot of questions about these, actually just more and more, because now I got 4 different types. Last year I think it was just a big 204 gasket. So people are always asking like, what's the deal? How do these work? Why is it the way it is? Why am I putting sealant on my engine? And then my answer is you don't have to buy one. But anyway, if you don't know what a VFR gasket is, it's basically a cutting ring gasket. So just like an Athena gasket where it's got a composite sheet and then the 4 rings or whatever, how many rings to seal the combustion chambers, right? So the difference with this is, again, VFR stands for vented fire ring. So these rings, sometimes they do leak under extreme cylinder pressure, and then your head gasket is junk. It's just as good as a regular stamped steel MLS gasket or composite gasket because it leaks and then the combustion goes straight into the cooling system anyway, and then it's done. Then you gotta change your head gasket and resurface your head and everything, right? So the difference is with this type of gasket, the vents are built in. So if this ring leaks, the combustion goes straight out the side of the deck instead of into the coolant passage. So again, there's a bunch of design that goes into this, but there's an air gap around the ring, so no matter which corner the ring leaks from, it'll have a path to come through a vent so that it actually can't possibly pressurize coolant. The only way you can pressurize coolant with a VFR gasket is if your deck is cracked or your cylinder wall is cracked or something like that. So it's kind of an indestructible head gasket, and it's reusable. So this plate gets sealed with sealant on both sides. RTV is my choice. RTV is what I recommend if you have to rebuild your engine, because people take things apart to change valves or pistons or just engine rebuilds and stuff. You can just take the gasket off, clean all the sealant up, scuff everything again, make sure everything is relatively flat, and just put it right back on. So that's what a VFR gasket really is. So what is this meant for? In professional racing, a lot of the cars that run for Le Mans, even today, like in the past even more so because boost pressures were insane like 30 years ago in Le Mans cars and stuff like that, but they would use a similar concept of venting the rings, but they wouldn't use a plate with vents machined in. They would have, like a bespoke block for the race car, but they would have grooves machined into the deck. So the fire ring, or I think some of them use Cooper rings, they could leak if there was some detonation happening or something, and then the leak would vent out of the grooves and then it would reseal again and just work for the rest of the race. So that's why you don't see professional race cars blowing head gaskets all the time or whatever. It's just because they already use something like this. For 24 hours in Le Mans, you don't want a blown head gasket taking you out. So basically, by selling a gasket that can just offer that for your engine, it's kind of like a retrofitted version of that. In the same way you can put a twin disc clutch in a daily driver and just drive it to work every day, you can put one of these in your daily and just drive it, except this won't affect drivability at all. But these are really meant for race cars because you can buy 1 gasket or 2 if you like. You can buy 1 gasket and you can keep reusing it. So for engines like an LS or something like that, a lot of people drag race them. A lot of people tulip valves or damage something in the cylinder and have to repair it at the track. So they have to pull their cylinder head off and do whatever, put a new head gasket in, and then away they go again. Or they're just blowing head gaskets all the time or something. This just solves the problem because, again, the gasket's fine to begin with. You can push it to whatever extent you want to push it to. But then if you have to rebuild your engine at the track, you can just take this out, brake clean it, clean all the sealant off, clean everything, seal it, put it right back together, and then go again. But anyway, these are made for race engines that get beat on and then they get rebuilt periodically. And then if you rebuild engines periodically, head gaskets become consumable. So every time you take the head off, you need a new gasket, which kind of sucks because your head gasket was probably fine to begin with. Or maybe you're just blowing them and you just have to change them all the time. So this solves both of those problems. You won't blow one, and then when you take the engine apart to rebuild it, you can just clean this up and put it back on because there's no crush in any of this. The rings don't crush. The rings actually cut into the head. So when you put it back together, you can locate the rings back in their grooves. And then the gasket, you can just clean the sealant off and clean everything up and put it back together. So I haven't bought a head gasket in like 5 years. The first VFR I designed was in 2019, and then since then it's like, okay, take it out, put it back, take it out, put it back. Actually I changed one because I wanted the new ones with the logo in it on the current engine I run. So that was about it. So beyond that too, these don't really care so much about surface finish of the head and block. You can have a not so flat cylinder head and this will be fine because the sealant takes up most of it anyway. So it saves you on machine costs because, again, I'm running sub stuff with iron blocks, so you don't really have to machine them anyway, usually. So just as long as that is pretty much flat, the head will take the shape of that. So I often get the question as well, why aren't these copper, or why don't these come coated with sealant or something like that, or why aren't these composite, these plates? What I just said earlier should answer all those questions. It's about reusability. Because if this was copper, once you crush it in certain spots and you torque the head down, it's thinner in those spots, and then it's going to be harder to seal the next time. And after 2 uses maybe, or after 2 engine assemblies, you got to buy another one. So I mean, that's great for business, but you know, the whole idea is just to make a product that no one else can offer. Saves you money, saves you time, and just gets the job done, because I don't have time for nonsense when I'm racing and I got to take the engine apart and I have 2 days until the next race. There's just no time for stupidness and that, oh crap, I got to order a new gasket, and then now your whole timeline is screwed up, right? So there's that. So yeah, if this had a coating, if this was composite, as soon as you install it and then you take it off, half of the composite is left on the deck. It's crushed, or again with the coating will peel off, so it's no good. So it's better just for it to use sealant in my eyes, because you can use it like till the end of time, seriously. Unless you really run too much boost and detonate the thing and split a fire ring or whatever the case may be, or I don't know, whatever it is. Unless you really, really break something, you won't need a new gasket, which is my favorite thing about these. So these gaskets are pretty much a final design. The only thing left to do is make these for more engines. So again, in a year I expanded to 4 gaskets, and then that's by request. Somebody requested the 2.8 gaskets, I made a batch. Somebody requested the 1.8T and the M52. So if you have any requests for one of these for your engine, feel free to reach out. You could send me an email through the website. The website's in the description as always. And regardless, I think I am actually going to make gaskets for the LS engines, maybe even Coyotes, because those engines need help when it comes to cylinder head sealing, and then it's painful for me to be on YouTube and just watch people blow MLS gaskets or composite gaskets or other firing gaskets with the composite sealing stuff, and then it just shoots out of the side of the deck and ruins the gasket, torches everything. I don't like to see it. I don't like to see people breaking stuff, and it pains me when I got the technology sitting here in my garage. So anyway, that's all this video is about. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. If you're thinking about buying one of these, I mean, whatever is on the site is in stock and it's ready to ship. If you request a gasket, I could probably get it done within a month. So, but anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.